This is the Impressions Exchange Podcast. Where all topics impacting the graphic imaging and printing industry are addressed via in-depth news coverage, analysis, and timely interviews. Hi, I'm Denise Gustavson, the Editorial Director for NAPCO Media and the guest host for the special Printing Impressions podcast series in celebration of Women's History Month, highlighting women in the printing industry. During this series, I'll have the opportunity to talk with women from all segments of the industry about their experiences and their journey as a woman in the print industry. So today, it is my pleasure to welcome Michele Pedre, the account executive with ER2 Image Group. So Michele, welcome.
Well, thank you. Hi, Denise.
So as we're getting started, can you tell me a little bit about the company you currently work for and your role there?
I work for ER2 Image Group. It's a family-owned and operated business. I've been here for 7 years, and I am an account executive / project manager, and we do large format printing and custom signage.
So they keep you busy?
They do.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's
so
amazing.
How did you get started in the industry? I'm guessing it's not something you said, I want to be in printing.
This is true. My background is in interior design and went to school for that and worked in the furniture industry, design industry in the 90s, and then became a mom around 9 to 10 years into that and stayed home for a bit. And a friend of mine who knew the background and was working in print thought I would be a good fit for a company she was working for, and they did event-driven products, and it was printing on fabric and creating aluminum structures. And I was ready to get back into the workforce, and so I kind of dipped my toe into that arena and was amazed at what I found in the industry.
And you've not been able to get out of it since.
That's right. That's right. It kind of just draws you in. And
it really does. I think that's in most of the women that I've talked to that have had a similar, they've been introduced to it in some way. It's fascinating to many people, just the breadth and the depth of the products that are available.
Right. I never even knew of an event industry before I started in it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a whole world that I was not accustomed to.
And for you as an interior designer, I can only imagine how like your eyes must have like popped out of your head when you realize what the technology can do to the interior design space too.
Right. Amazing. Even every day being here at ER2, and seeing what other projects people are working on and what comes out of here, I'm like, oh my God, I would have never thought of that. So yeah, it's fun. Every day is different.
Which makes it fun exciting. And it makes it exciting.
It does. It does. And wanting to implement the things that you see for other people. So yeah, it really is. And that's what I love about it. It's something different every day. And then the creative world.
Yeah, the creativity of one spurs the creativity and someone else, and they can riff on it and go and adapt. And it makes it, I love the industry just for that the creative juices that you can get when you work with so many people that have all those creative genes.
Yes, it is. It's amazing. It's amazing the people that I'm surrounded by here as well. And just everybody coming together and the things that you just don't think are something we can achieve. And then, there we go. Here it is.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like, I can't believe we made that.
So true.
Because I mean, I've seen some of the work that ER2 has done, and it flabbergasts me, some of the things that you guys have created. And it's like, how did you do that? But that's like, the magic behind the curtain.
It is. There's a lot of magic, let me tell you.
But that's great. Now, for you, you had a background in interior design. You had a friend that said, hey, I have a perfect fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else that really has helped to develop your career and your career journey so far in the industry? Because I mean, for you, this is all new.
Well, definitely seeing actually when I worked at the first place that I started at, ER2 was someone that we were introduced to that we could use to add on to things that we were selling. And so kind of keeping an eye on what they were doing and continuing to evolve as the family grew and got older, and a more contemporary look on things started happening. So it kind of drove me to change a little bit of my direction and want to achieve a little bit more than what I was seeing kind of just in the event industry that I was in. I wanted something a little bit broader, that interior, like my background was in, more of a residential and a commercial opportunity. So yeah, I kind of had my pulse on that.
So you might as well use the background that you have and put it to good use.
Right. Well, yeah. And it kind of fulfills me knowing I didn't go to school just for fun, that I was still implementing what I had learned, at least.
And then just adding to your knowledge base.
Exactly.
Part of the questions we're talking about, because this is Women's History Month, is the printing industry has sometimes been very, very much male dominated. So a lot of men in the industry. And my question to you is, are there any specific challenges that you've had to overcome due to gender?
I'm middle-aged. And so it was something, of course, that I saw more so years back. And just being taken seriously and not just a pretty face, or the challenges of, I guess, being recognized for really what you were bringing to the table. So that's mostly what I feel like I've had to deal with or see as I was coming up. So not getting to where I thought I should be in regards to pay scale, and just being recognized for what your contributions are.
Yeah. Now, the industry, the commercial, well, not commercial, but the interior design industry, I actually am not as familiar with. So is that mostly female, or is it male, or is it a good?
For me, it was a mix.
Okay.
And I don't know that I saw that in that industry so much, more the furniture arena, because it was more comfortable for a female to be in that arena, but more so when I started in my early print career.
Okay.
For sure.
It's just interesting to see, what you experienced and then how that perception may have changed as you moved into printing.
Right. Yeah, very different.
So now, because of that, have there been any discrimination against you because you're a woman in printing, or is that something that you really have never had to come up against?
I think where I would say discrimination came in is pay. And even though there was a collective of men and women in a sales role, and if you outperformed the rest of the group as a female, you were not compensated for that. At first, for me, I got a quieter individual, and I thought my successes would speak for themselves. So I kind of stayed low key, but it just didn't happen. And that was one of the only frustrations for me. Other than that, that's really the main thing that stands out and kind of held me back.
So now, obviously, that's no longer holding you back, or at least that's what I'm going to assume. So how did you make sure that your voice was being heard now, that you were celebrating and telling people about your successes, to overcome that? I know how it is. Like, sometimes you just don't want to bring attention if you don't have to. I mean, that's just my personality. But how do you change that?
I think too, being middle-aged or older, it's harder to kind of change. You stay more reserved. And the younger generation, I think, has uplifted me. I see the tenacity and some of the younger women that I work with, and I love it. And I think and the respect that I get from my knowledge from them elevates me. And so I do feel more comfortable. But listen, I still question myself at times, am I good enough? But it's definitely helped me feel better about my voice, and working for an organization that's willing to listen and be comfortable with it as well. So it's a learning experience to get to that point when you've come from a generation that was so different. And now to the younger generation, kudos to them, because like I said, I'm learning from them. I'm impressed by what I see.
Yeah, it's something that has to be learned in order, because
It does.
we have the worth. We know our worth, but
Hmm.
trying to actually vocalize that can be difficult for many people because
Yeah.
of our upbringing, because of just where we are. And I am envious of some people when they have no problem speaking their mind.
Right. Me too. And again, it's how you're raised and what you've experienced. So yes, I always approach things like that with trepidation still.
But as you learn more from those young
Yes.
newcomers,
Yes. No,
and
it does. It really, it's a growth in me as
Mhm.
well.
And having the support system within the company and the people that you report to, your peers, they're supporting you too, will help to, I think, helps bolster,
Oh,
your,
for sure.
because then you're comfortable to talk about your wins and talk about your successes.
Yes. Yes. And your peers coming to you and wanting to know your opinion about something that's
Mhm.
important for the company. I mean, that really elevates the way you feel and helps you achieve more.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I'm blessed to be where I'm at right now.
Which is amazing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love all the owners. I do know them.
Oh,
So
thank you. Yeah, I have to say, I say like in quotes, the ER2 family, but you really do feel like you're part of the family. There's people here, and not just one or two, but a collection. They've been here 15 plus years,
mhm,
and that says something about them.
it definitely does. Now, I mean, you mentioned that when you were working earlier, you had a gap because you wanted to be a mom.
Yes.
So how is it when you have to make that choice? You obviously at that point you made the choice, you were going to go and you were going to raise your family.
Hmm.
So you stepped away from your career.
Yes.
That's a hard decision, I think, to make.
Yes, it is. But in those first moments when you're starting a family, for me, that was everything.
Mhm.
So, but as time went on and my children were younger, I'm like, how could I ever catch up? How can this computer generation, I'll never get back to where I'm expected to be. Where will I fit in?
Mhm.
Those things did cross my mind as I was staying home. And then home 12 years. I'm like, oh my God, I'm ancient history. And like I said, a friend said, hey, I have a great opportunity for you and you're a perfect fit. I'm like, I'm so behind the times with technology. She's like, don't worry.
But to
And
have that support, especially when you're looking to get back in
yes,
to the workforce, I
yes,
think that's the urging that I think a lot of women would need in some cases.
yes,
Come in, the
yes.
water's fine. We'll get you up to speed. Don't
Again, it's a
worry.
yes, yes. And that's what women do for other women, for sure.
Mhm. We
Or
all
what
fix
they
each
can
other's
do.
crowns.
Yes, absolutely. You need that.
Mhm. Now, for you, that was a choice that you made to go and to build your family, to put your career on hold for
Yes.
12 years.
Hmm.
Is that something that you see women are still wrestling with today?
I'm sure they do.
Hmm.
I mean, how could you not?
I know.
Yeah, it's a fine line. And obviously financially, families have to do it.
Hmm.
Make that choice to continue to work but yeah, I hear it amongst the younger families that I work with, the things that they're kind of struggling with and the things that are coming up. And I'm like, oh yeah,
I mean,
it
especially with the
hasn't changed.
pandemic.
Yes.
I mean, kids are now home, have to be homeschooled. It's, so much changed in 2 years. And
Oh,
how
most
does,
definitely.
and we saw, I mean, in the workforce, how that impacted how many women had to leave the workforce
Right.
because of it. And I think part of it's also, it's sad that it's always the woman that ends up going home to take care of the children. Many times
Sure.
it's because they're making less money.
Right.
So,
It's expected.
and it's expected.
Mhm.
So why can't,
And
the dad go and
right.
spend the time
Right.
at home?
Are we less valuable?
And we know we're not, but
We
then
know
that's
we're
the
not.
question is, that's the larger question I think that that everybody is wrestling with is how do you get that balance, and how do you make sure that your worth is equal?
Right.
So you're also commanding equal pay. So then it's not really, it's not a question of, well, you make less money than I do, we can afford to have you stay home.
Right.
And then the other thing that I've heard from many women that have had and have continued careers and also built families is there's that sense of guilt, because then they're wondering, have I done enough for my family? Have I done enough for my career? They're pulled.
And then if something goes wrong, did I not invest? Yeah. Did I not invest enough time in it? Oh, for sure. I think one of the beauties that this generation now and people raising families, there are so many jobs where you can work from home. And not that that's the answer to everything, but it does make some things a little bit easier. I definitely didn't have that. And I struggled when I had to go back to work, and my youngest son was like in 3rd grade. Being home in time, I wasn't going to be able to get home in time for him from when he's coming home from school. And so I did have a lot of guilt with that kind of stuff. But
they turned out okay, I'm guessing.
He did. they both did.
That is good.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. Can I make it home in time to get him off the bus? And then of course, then you have the stereotypes. Oh, she's just a working mom. She has the mom hours.
Yes. If I would come in early, at my other job, start early, and I had East Coast clients, so it made sense anyway. But leave earlier because I came in earlier. But I'd be like, oh, you're leaving already? I'm thinking, well, I was here.
I've been here since 6, right?
I mean, I've been here the same amount of time everybody else was here. So yeah, and then just again, not feeling enough in those moments, like made to feel guilty because you're trying to balance both and be successful at both.
Yeah. And as much as the technology nowadays allows you to balance, because you have, you can be contacted, but then the question is, but you can be contacted because now you might be you driving to
when
soccer
can you turn
practice.
It off?
So yeah, it becomes, how do you manage that work-life balance? How do you manage all of those? And yeah, it's something where I think everyone is struggling with.
Yeah, it's just not easy.
No, definitely not easy. In talking about, women in the printing industry, in the workforce, are there specific traits or characteristics that you think or that you feel women bring to the workforce that wouldn't be there if women weren't part of it?
Of course. I mean, I think the diversity of a team makes a great team. But women, we have special talents. Multitasking, number one.
Oh, yeah.
And I think our creativity is different. And so I think a blend of different creative types is wonderful. And compassion and understanding is all things that I think a good team needs. And I think women carry some of those things much better.
Yes, there's that nurturing. There's that nurturing that I think women are, it's just kind of innate.
We can't help it. I know I'm like everybody's mom here. And you know what? I love that. I love it.
But it allows you to connect and it allows you to understand.
Yes.
And, for good or for bad, because I guess, that can be used against us too. But, but then it helps. It brings the team together to be a little bit more like a family.
I think so too, because, in any sort of production-based industry, they always talk about the carpet and the cement, the people in the front office and the people that are working in the back. And I think it's so important that, you have those relationships in both areas. And so I pride myself on having great relationships with the people that are helping my clients' visions come to life.
And knowing, and it's not just a person that works there. There's actually, it's not just a number.
Exactly. It's the respect of what they're doing. And I think women are better at that.
Not that I'm saying men are bad, but
but yeah.
But there are certain things that women, it's just a little bit more ingrained, I
Yeah,
think.
we'll take a little extra time just
Mhm.
to talk to somebody for a few minutes to see how they're doing.
Yeah.
And not that there's none that don't, but
It's hard to be blanket, but it's, a blanket statement.
yeah.
Now, in terms of women in leadership, now for you as an account exec, you have certain goals and things that you want to do. How important is it to have women in leadership roles? So in the C-suite within the printing industry?
I think it's great to have that breadth of a woman in leadership. It takes a certain type of person to a certain role to be in that type of a position. But I think that the diversity in that area is something that is a good thing. We have one woman in leadership here, which is the mom, but there could be more.
In
Maybe.
printing, it's tough.
Yeah.
But I know especially for women starting out, maybe they're just getting into the industry, to see a woman in that management role, to see women as team leads, as heads of departments.
Yeah.
It helps, I think, to give them a path to know that I'm not just trapped in as a secretary. Not that a secretary is bad if you're something that's what you want to do, but you're not stuck in some of those traditional roles that were primarily women, executive assistants and secretaries, and maybe some of the front office work, but you could be doing other things.
Yeah. We do have a couple female managers here at ER2, I think in accounting, and there might be someone in shipping. But yeah, I think you're right. It does give other employees a reason to shoot for higher things for sure.
One woman I spoke with, she started in the bindery. She loves being hands-on. She saw that there was no female in the press room. And she said, I think there should be. So that gave her the incentive to go for it.
That's wonderful.
So, that also, in a way, there was an absence of a woman in that area. And so she said, we need to have someone there. And that gave her the impetus. And now if somebody else starting can see her in that position and say, oh, she can do that. I can do that too.
That's wonderful. Yeah, you're right.
So I guess that in a way that works both ways. If there's nobody in that position, then well, why not? Why can't it be? Why can't I go to that? Why can't I be that person?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now, as we both know, hiring within the printing industry has been challenging, to say the least, over the last few years.
Yes.
How do you think that the industry or even a print company itself can help to appeal to more people, more women specifically, to come into the industry?
I think it's something we've already talked about, and it's the creative interior, sort of bringing them into the whole bandwidth of things that are happening, and how exciting it is, and how we're changing the interiors of spaces and how people connect. I think, that would broaden the base of people that we could attract, because it is, I don't think creative people think, oh, I'm, like you said, I'm going to go into print. No, it's really, what we've seen in the architectural industry that we're doing. I mean, it's exciting. And,
It's so
and I
exciting.
think that would be a great way.
But then how do we communicate it? I think that's the question. We know what we can do.
I know.
But how do we communicate it? That's kind of the issue or the question that we have.
Yeah, we do have to communicate it better. That's our marketing. I know we're sometimes limited to what we can share, unfortunately. So if we would be allowed to really go from start to finish and show kind of, what a team brings to changing a whole scope, like the post office in Chicago for Uber. I mean, we've got lots of things we started in Chicago. We're probably going to be taking Uber on across the country. And that's exciting to see. I think there's people in the design world that would love to be part of something like that, and not just think, oh, print, they print, posters, or they print banners, and it's just trying to get that out there. Yeah, I don't know.
And
We
it's
got to
funny,
make the time to do it.
yeah. And it's one of those things, like, how do we work with the kids? How do we work with some of those younger generations to tell them? I mean, I remember, going to the firehouse, going to the police
Yes.
station. Does it make sense to do a field trip to a print shop?
Mm-hmm. Why not? And it's funny you say that. Actually, one of the Schellers, their kids were off last Friday, and he had his kids and his nieces and nephews come, and they kind of designed something, and then we printed it for them, and they were amazed at what they were able to do in like an hour, and how it could be transformed into different substrates. So yeah, absolutely.
Although with their kids, they have no excuse, but they have to go into printing because, family and all.
That's
But,
right.
how can that translate to those kids that are, maybe they're in like junior high or middle school, that they're
Right.
starting to think about what they're good at, what they want to do.
I think it's a great thing for us to think about. Absolutely. Introduce it to a younger generation. Absolutely.
Because I mean, that's really the only way that they're going to start understanding. I mean, print is everywhere, but nobody sees it, which I think is one of those things. People they see mail, they see newspapers, they see signs, they see books, but it's there. Yeah, it's a book. But to think about how it's actually created, they
Right.
see a billboard, they see a wrap on a building. Well, yeah,
How did that happen?
it's just there. It's part of the scenery in many cases, especially for younger ones. Honestly, actually for adults too, I imagine.
Right.
But to understand that the whole process in the industry behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a magic wand, for sure.
Sometimes I think we wish it was.
Yeah. With the time constraints we're given sometimes, yes.
You just wave that magic wand and it goes up. That'd be great.
Yes.
So now my final question to you is, what advice would you give young woman or even yourself when you were starting out in the industry? What advice would you give yourself?
Don't let anything hold you back. Believe in yourself, work towards your goal, and you will be successful. You will. Look for the right fit, and there's going to be times where the fit isn't right, but it's just another stepping stone. And you learn something in every turn, whether it's a good experience or a bad. So we know that for sure.
Yeah. And to make sure you take all those experiences, put them all together, and just keep moving.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Michele, it was an absolute pleasure talking with you today.
Thank you. You too.
We'll talk again soon, I'm hoping. So thank you again.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.